And let me next introduce our two colleagues from Lee County School District, or the School District of Lee County in Fort Myers, Florida, Helen Martin and Amy French.
Good afternoon, colleagues. I'm excited to share with you today an overview of how we're utilizing video coaching to support teachers and students in our district. So my name is Helen Martin. I'm the Assistant Director of Professional Development. And then also on my team today have Amy French, who's our Coordinator in Professional Development, and we'll both share some of our insight with you. To start off with, I wanted to begin by sharing the mission and vision of the School District of Lee County. So overall, our organization exists to ensure each student reaches his or her highest potential. And to do that, we need to become a world-class school system, which means the work of my department is focused on professional development as a tool to provide all of our teachers, all of our support staff, and all of our leaders with the skills they need to support students in the schools each day so that the workforce can be successful, so that the students can be successful. Before we jump into how we're using video coaching, I wanted to share with you a little bit about our context, because I think it's important to understand the world in which we live in Lee County. So we are a very large school district, the 9th largest in the state of Florida and the 32nd largest in the country. We service 84,000 plus public school students that are spread out between 96 public schools, and we have approximately 6,000 teachers. So we're a very large school district. Our teaching staff is very diverse as well. About 11% of our teachers right now are within their first or second year of teaching. So, and of those 11% of first and second year teachers, it's important to point out that many of them come to us from non-traditional College of Education backgrounds, which means that they require a lot of support and assistance managing the basics of a classroom, as well as obtaining and maintaining professional certification. So my department, the Department of Professional Development, really focuses its work on those first and second year teachers. And we have a very small staff that is able to do that. So we really rely on school level teacher leadership to help us accomplish our goals and to build capacity, as well as the use of innovative technologies such as Edthena and video coaching to do that. So we have 62 peer collaborative teachers that are in place in 29 of our highest need schools that employ the largest number of new teachers. Peer collaborative teachers teach part of the day, and then they receive release time for the other 50% of their day to provide job-embedded professional development in their school. They go through a rigorous vetting process that includes experience, evaluation ratings, and peer review. And from that, they're eligible then to apply for the position of peer collaborative teacher. They receive attractive compensation, which is really on par with that in an assistant principal. Which helps retain our best teachers in the classroom. But I know, and my team knows, that they need support to be successful in their role. So we have 7 learning and leadership teachers that support the peer collaborative teachers and the new teachers from the district level. And the peer collaborative teachers receive 80% release time to provide coaching across the district, as well as they co-teach 20% of the time with a new teacher in a high needs school. So they really operate in the best of all worlds, that they're teaching 1 class period a day in a high needs school, as well as providing professional learning across the entire district. So as I said, my department, we really focus on the basics and the 101 of teaching, as well as better equipping the teachers and the leaders that support the new teachers and all teachers within schools. And so we collaborate really closely with our partners in curriculum. And you can see their structure there for teacher leadership as well, to support curriculum, data analysis, and standards delivery. So again, between the curriculum and professional development department, we have about 23 district level instructional coaches to support a high number of teachers and a high number of new teachers with a lot of needs. So that is where we really leverage video and specifically Edthena in order to accomplish our goals. So I'll tell you a little bit about our story now using video and professional learning. So as I said, we are small and mighty And we're always trying to think of new and innovative ways to support our teachers in support of our students, and also ways to build capacity. So we are currently using video right now in order to build the capacity of our school-based instructional coaches. And so what that looks like is our peer collaborative teachers submit videos of their coaching conversations with the new teachers they're supporting in their building, and then receive feedback from the district-based learning and leadership teachers on the use of their coaching and their questioning skills. We're also using it to build the instructional capacity of individuals who are currently peer collaborative teachers or who have been through that vetting process and not yet peer collaborative teachers, to familiarize them with the video coaching tool, but also sharpen their toolbox as teachers through going through a Dell Innovative Educator cohort, where the participants set goals and then they receive coaching from an expert, just feedback really on their way to their goals to achieve Dell Educator certification. Through the process, we've learned that the building of trust is incredibly important, and that's also been a challenge. So some of our coaches didn't necessarily trust the video process to begin with, that it would be confidential or that it would help them learn and grow ultimately in the end, or that it wouldn't be used against them. So we've had to work to build trust throughout the process. And one of the ways we've done that between the participants as well as our peer collaborative teachers is we've been providing training on the gym night, the partnership principles and instructional coaching, in order to really emphasize with our coaches that they should enter the coaching relationship through an element of reciprocity and relationship building. And then also we've been providing training in order to build trust and dependability through the instructional coaches on providing instruction on the impact cycle through gym night, with the hopes that our coaches approach their coaching and feedback to teachers really through a cycle and a systematic process so that trust can be built. We've also learned throughout the process that perhaps professional development individuals have received on video coaching or coaching itself doesn't necessarily translate directly to video. So there's pretty extensive professional development that is needed for your coaches and for your teachers who are using video for professional learning in order to get them to translate some of those best instructional coaching practices that they know work and exist, that they translate those into the video coaching environment as well. One of the pieces that we're also learning is that our instructional coaches and our peer collaborative teachers in place in our schools, that they need opportunities to learn and grow too. They spend much of their time providing tools to the teachers they support within their schools, that they are really hungry for an opportunity to learn and grow and be challenged in their work. And then finally, as with everything and anything related to professional development, the setting of goals is incredibly important. Our goal isn't necessarily to do video coaching. Our goal is to build capacity, and then video coaching and Edthena is really our tool in order to accomplish that goal within our schools. So I can kind of share the 20,000 feet overview with you all day, but I'd like to turn it over to our colleague, Amy French, who's a coordinator in professional development, to share a little bit more about how our teachers are responding to the use of video in professional learning.
As Helen said, we really did use the Edthena platform and video coaching to build capacity, and we've been using it before the pandemic. So when we all had to go on lockdown, it actually worked to our benefit that people were familiar with this tool, with the Edthena tool, and have started to become more comfortable with the videotaping. We did run into some roadblocks initially years ago with the whole trust thing. We really wanted our peer collaborative teachers to use that video to see themselves coaching and reflect on that. We have found that when people reflect, we don't really have to coach them. They end up coaching themselves through the reflective practice. But as we have moved on and we brought in some more teachers, we wanted our coaches to know what it felt like to be coached as well, and what it felt like to go through a coaching cycle. We thought that was important, that if we're going to ask them to do it, we need them to feel it as well. So that was with our partnership with ALP And we walked, I think, almost all of our peer collaborative teachers and several of our teacher career bridge members through an actual coaching cycle using Edthena, where they chose a goal, where they chose what they're going to record themselves on. And it happened to focus on technology for this part. And I was really worried. There was a little pushback at first when they found out they'd record themselves. But the feedback I got from veteran teachers, one woman is so close to retirement, but she wants to continue teaching now because of what she just felt so inspired by that use of the video coaching and seeing herself and getting coached from somebody else. It really was powerful. So we do have some word walls there of some of the feedback that we received from our surveys, but really they say it best. We recently had a celebration with our Dell Educator certification cohorts, and Helen's now going to share just a little bit about that from that celebration. And these are the words of our teachers that went through the video coaching process.
So my personal victory was doing this for me and carving out time for me, because I've been a PCT for a while, and when you are at schools that need PCTs, it's kind of the same situations that happen, and so you pull out of the same bag of tricks to coach teachers. And I decided to go through the Dell process because my significant other went through it before me, and he said it really allowed us to be coached instead of doing the coaching for once, and stop pulling out of that same bag of tricks and to kind of fill our cup a little bit. And I was like, well, I don't have time to fill my cup because I'm filling everybody else's cup. And it felt really good to, and I can't say that I was 100%, I did it with fidelity because Wheatley and I were in meetings, and like you'd see a kid come in, I'm like, hold on, and like handle like the kid, but at the same time, I still was able to carve out, even if it wasn't 100% for me, it was better than 0% for me. And so I'm going to be very selfish with what I got out of it. It forced me to coach teachers, of course, but to stop pulling from that same bag of tricks and then using the technology that's already available to us in different ways. And I think that I left not feeling stressed out about one more thing to do, but someone is going to be holding me accountable into doing it a different way. And that helped me, again, kind of replenish myself. And so that's my personal victory. I'm going to be selfish today.
So I was really hesitant at first as well, because I feel like sometimes when I do things with technology, I give up a little bit of control. So maybe I'm a control freak. But when I teach a 5th grade math group, and Wheatley shared with me about Flipgrid, and I had heard of it, but I'd never really played around with it. And I'm really big on having my students explain and defend their answer. And so she recommended that like my early finishers could go off into a separate area and they could record their Flipgrid on how they solved their problem. And of course, I knew who those kids were going to be, so they got started on it. But there's this one girl in my class that's so shy, like she never raises her hand. She never ever participates in like verbally. She does her work, she's compliant. But she was so articulate and explained her answer so well. And I asked for her permission to play it in class. And she agreed. And so I got to play it for the rest of the class, and they were all like listening to her thinking, and it's given her like a new sense of confidence. And now she's raising her hand more and she's sharing. And so it's just been really exciting to see how it impacted her and the confidence it gave her.
I always ask myself, is there a technology piece that I could add to the lesson? Because I see how engaged the kids are with using it. So I'm like, okay, let me see. Well, what can I do? What technology can I do? A Neopod? Can I do a Jamboard? What can I do so that these kids are more engaged? We videoed my lessons and I shared it with my teammates. So that's how I did it.
The way Lenora said it, she said now when she looks at the lesson, she thinks, what technology piece can I put in there? And I think that's kind of where the magic is. Like, we're all really good at our jobs and really good at what we do. It's just adding that next piece, like thinking outside the box kind of. And I think that's kind of what this did for me. It made me look at resources we already have and how might I utilize them a little bit differently.
So I just love the phrases and the reflections that our teachers tell us for how the use of video has really reinvigorated them in their teaching. And then it's making a way to changing their classroom practices and then impacting their students and their colleagues in a positive way.
Thank you so much, Lee County, for sharing your story. I'm just struck by teachers' clarity about their goal focus and how the video powering of their professional learning is contributing to their growth. That's exciting. And also how it's supporting students